Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joat, and we're doing a review or an attempt at a review at Empyrion Galactic Survival. As of today, we're on version 1.8.4. We have some options over here. I think this game is, we're going to choose single player, has got quite a few options: survival, scenario, creative, and freedom. If I go into survival, you choose the name for your save, randomize the seed. You'll start now on a small planet, and you have the choice between temperate, cold, hot, arid, and no oxygen, or a swamp planet with some temperature and radiation struggles. One of the cool things about this game is you can customize the difficulty um, between very arc-like in the settings. You can change your starting equipment, how you what you keep upon death, slow or speed up your experience progression, degradation speed on weapons and food, uh, food consumption normal, oxygen consumption normal. It really has a lot of ways to make this play to your play style. One of the really cool things about this game, one of the many, is this CPU points and check mass and volume. If it's your first playthrough, I would probably keep it off. Managing this can be managing your mass and volume specifically can make the game a little bit more difficult, but I think much more enjoyable. The way this game handles mass and volume with wireless transmission of not only data but equipment is pretty unique and lots of fun, in my opinion. CPU points as you build, because you can build anything in this game. From the game classifies them as hover vessels, small vessels, or capital vessels, but you're building block by block and manipulating those blocks. You're putting in the thrusters and generators and fuel tanks and oxygen and cockpits and everything. Each of those items require CPU points, so you have to add additional CPU processing power. CPU processing power, I think that's redundant, but add additional CPU in order to make the ship fly efficiently. We're going to come back here and start a creative session. We're going to create a new one. I'm just going to call it Joat testing. I'm going to leave stuff in the world. I can make it just take all the POI stuff out. And I can start on a temperate planet, just a white canvas, or in orbit, which, by the way, if you're actually building, I think is a little bit easier. Arid with no oxygen, or temperate. I'm going to go ahead and start this and kind of show some stuff. Some of the reasons that I like this game. From a building perspective, rather, I don't think there's a better game out there. You can, from scratch, block by block, build your own. All of this right here, this would be references of POI. All of this is built block by block. That is an elevator block. That is an elevator block. That is an elevator block. And the admins have created all of this. But you, as a player, can gather the resources and create anything that you would like. This is a hover vessel. What I want to do is come into my menu. I'm going to grab this multi-tool. So this is not provided to you by the game, but it's provided in this creative mode session. Just to give you an idea of each one of these things have been, we're going to retrieve blocks. So I need multi-charge ammo. So because I'm in creative, there's a God mode session here. I'm going to grab some multi-charges and charge that multi-tool. So we got it set to retrieve blocks, just to give you an idea. So that was a block. The designer of this, which could be you, put that thruster there, put that thruster there, put that hover engine, which is a thruster pointing down, there. All of this can be colored block by block. And when you're building for yourself, you also have to build. There's a fuel tank, another thruster, another fuel tank, thruster. Everything is built block. I was so thoroughly amazed at how this occurs, how the building occurs. I remember playing Star Citizen, or at least looking at it before it was released years ago, and the reviews were such that they were amazed that Star Citizen had the ability to shoot other crafts in space combat, and you would see a wing fly off or a part fly off, and it was the damage was relative to where it was on the vessel. Uh, Empyrion's had that since 2015. Because I was also thoroughly amazed in one of the review. I think it was by 7 Foot Dust Bunny. He was doing a playthrough, and he had built a custom small vessel, and he was flying in on a POI, and the turrets of that POI had shot out both of his front thrusters, which is your brakes when you're flying. And because of that, he could still fly and operate, but could not slow down the ship. And that level of detail in the way the machines work, I think, is amazing. This is a detector, a little radar detector. A lot of these blocks are decorative. These particular blocks are armor, or intended to be. Here is an RCS. There's the core. Another thruster. Is there anything else on this particular? Yeah, there's another fuel tank. Another hover engine. And it's all relative, right? So if you don't put very many engines on them for thrust, here's a cargo box, which has a couple of items in it. If you don't put many thrusters in it, then you load this up with tons of resources. It's not going to go anywhere. Or it would just be super sluggish. Because I'm in creative mode, I can come in here to blocks and just grab some, well, they're using carbon, so we'll just use steel blocks. Bring 2,000 of them down, and then I can add onto this. I can repair all of those blocks, and then I'll be the first to admit that I'm not a builder, but the ability to build in this game is amazing. So you have just tons of styles of blocks that work together to form everything you see here. All of these are made block by block. And then you can make anything that you want in this game. I think that's just completely amazing. And the way the vehicles react to damage and how you build them will affect how they fly. I thoroughly enjoy this. So the next thing is graphics, right? So I think the game occasionally looks absolutely stunning and occasionally looks, well, wonky. This water feature is a fairly recent, has always been water, but the way the water interacts graphically is fairly new. I think it looks gorgeous. Really phenomenal on this temperate planet. Another nice touch, in my opinion, I'm going to just come out into some deeper water. Another thing that I think is super interesting is the way the game handles swimming. So let's get out of God mode. And so I have a weapon in my hand, and you can see I'm sinking. I can still walk with a little bit of user interface stuff. I have a helmet on. If I press the U, I take it off, and I would start to suffocate because I'm underwater. Put the U on, the helmet on rather, and I'm good. But if I try to jump because I'm underwater, it's almost non-responsive. If I turn on my jetpack, I can come up, and then I would start to sink, and I'm moving very, very slowly. However, if I empty my hands, I can now sprint, go a little faster. I can swim and maintain any level inside this water. I think that's a great aspect. I mean, if you've got a weapon or something in your hands, you would have a hard time swimming. If you empty your hands, you've got full swimming capabilities, including swimming faster, etc. So let's get back into God mode, just so I can get out of here in this creative session. Mobs. So sandbox. So once you land in a survival game, you're just like any other survival game. You basically land on a beach naked, go hit trees. So it's not quite that simple. Play the first survival bit. It's pretty interesting, but you're using your survival tool, which we'll just craft one. Is what you're born with, or you spawn with rather. you spawn with a survival tool and a flashlight and some bandages, pretty basic stuff. Then you start looting. So while this crafts up, maybe I should have crafted that a little bit earlier, but what are you going to do? So I'm going to grab the survival tool, which is right here in the output. Put her right there. This is a surface silicone node, or a silicone bearing rock. We're going to go into resource mode here. Bottom right, silicone bearing resource, 60 hit points. And that yielded me 1 silicon ore, which is right here. So getting the 3 basic resources, silicon, copper, and iron, and carbon substrate now, is the basis of just about everything, including trees for wood and various barren resources. Another thing that ironically is not talked about in this game, which I think is really interesting. Should I go ahead and craft a detector too? How long is that going to take? This is an iron-bearing surface resource. Wheat. Cooking ingredients, I think that was spice. More iron. Now this is a temperate planet, so we're not having to worry about temperature or oxygen. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but on other planets you might not have oxygen. You have to craft some before it runs out. You might have to worry about temperature or radiation. Just complicating the matter of what you need to do to survive. Let's see how this detector's coming along. Little miniature radar detector, which theoretically, in not a creative mode world, would start pinging local points of interest, or like that, or wrecked ships or resources. So if you put the survival tool in your hand and hit the F5 button, you get a drone. Here's me. Let's see, can I? Yeah. Can take off my helmet while I'm operating the drone. So I can now dig where a lot of the larger resources would be underground to collect vaster amounts of resources in order to build stuff. So the survival constructor is on you, basic things. What do I need for this? Carbon substrate. Carbon substrate's kind of a thing now. And I need 5. Can I just get carbon substrate now here? Yeah. We have carbon substrate. One of the first things... What's going on, buddy? You're going to build to be a portable constructor. I'll let that cook up while I'm talking. With that portable constructor, you can make more complex items than you can in your survival constructor. And then with that portable constructor, you can make a small constructor. With the small constructor, you could make a large constructor. If I go into the tech tree by hitting F3, it'll tell you all the things that you can craft. Starter blocks for crafting your own ship. If I go into the base, all the components of making a base. A small constructor at level 5. These colors here denote what level of constructor you need to construct it. Then a large constructor, advanced constructor, then deconstructor, and furnace. The higher the level, the more items that you can make. If we go into, we can see like this tier 2 laser rifle can only be crafted in a large constructor or an advanced constructor. If we get into like capital vessels, some of these things can only be crafted in an advanced constructor. So then it brings up space travel, because this is a space game, right? A space survival game. So you can craft custom small vessels which can dock on the capital vessels. It makes specific hover vessels for mining or tanks in order to take larger, more serious POIs in order to gather more resources to build more things. Or you can, at which point you're probably going to be done with your planet and you'll start doing some exploring. There's a vast world. If I go into this solar system that we're currently in, and this You know, I don't know what the solar system and is going to look like in this creative mode, but creative. So we have a hostile example, an arid planet, and if I come out to this galaxy, there are tons of galaxies throughout the game. Of course, it's creative, so what are you going to do? Including entire regions of the galaxy that are controlled by different factions. You can create your own faction and have your own control. The exploration is great. At the beginning of this game, you've got a series of, I think, 13 missions, which would take you a little while to get through as they're developing more and more fleshed out storylines. But your ability to craft, survive, and make whatever you want in this game, I think, is unsurpassed by all the rest of the games. The flight capabilities. Let's bring in a ship and do some flying. All in creative mode. So I'm going to go into the factory. It's built on your person. It's another way you can store items. I would like to say these are all things that I have crafted, but they're really not. They're things that I have modified from other people who make these games, make these items. So if I go into the workshop, this is all based off the Steam Workshop. I can choose any one of these things. This is one of my favorite small vessels in the game, honestly. And it tells you what resources you need. I would typically send this to the workshop in the game and start dumping items into it until I had all of these items and then spawn it. And once I can spawn it, I'll bring it in. So what most people, I think, do is they come into creative mode and they build items like this and save it as a template and then spawn that in their survival game. For instance, if I go back to this factory, I typically have a base, a capital vessel, a small vessel. What is this bunker? I actually don't know what this bunker is. Oh, I do too. There's a starter base that I was playing with. This is probably the larger base that I would typically play with. Small vessel, a capital vessel, and a base. These are the ones that I like. I can go in and modify them, change, save the blueprint, and then pull it up at any time. So we have spawned in a vessel. This is, by the way, a really cool ship. In my opinion. I can actually access it there, but we're not going to do that. We're going to come into the door. And again, all of this was built block by block. All of it. It's amazing. And if in battle, if I have these thrusters blown out, then I will no longer be able to thrust to the left. I think that's amazing. Let's see here. Let's take a ride. Third person view. And then space travel. I don't have any ammo. Wow. See our planet that we were just on. Very Earth-like. There are some points of interest over there. Not close enough. So if I exit my cockpit, I can now traverse space. Notice the temperature outside is negative 171 degrees. I'm in creative, so I don't know how negatively it will affect me. Coming back in. You can mine asteroids to get even more resources. And then a capital vessel. So let's head down and spawn something a little bit bigger. See if I can find that starting area. There's an arrow bottom left, arrows bottom left. There we are. Use a little boost, see how quickly we can get over there. Completely docked, back into first person mode. Come out. I'm going to quickly go into kind of this God mode. I'm going to bring back daylight just because, well, just because. Back into the factory, and I'll pull out this MCM Pioneer from J. Randall. Beautiful ship. Probably my favorite general moving around starter vessel. So let's get our jetpack on and take a look at this. Or how about the drone? Just to show it off. I think the drone's super cool. Just the way it works. So here is my MCRN. Look, I'm starting to get out of range of Wi-Fi. Brings it back to me. So before I go take a quick tour of that vessel, hop in this guy. Dock onto that guy. A couple of ways to get in the ship. Again, all built by an individual player, J. Randall in this case. I don't remember the name of the creator of this. I'll try to remember to put it down below. He's a great designer. That's a beautiful ship. Got some elevator action. All of this was designed block by block, which I think is just amazing. We have a captain's chair for our capital vessel. You can see our small vessel just hanging out on top. And then space travel is the same. With this combination, I can't go kill the Xeraxian homeworld because I need more guns and shields, but you can get just about everything done in this game. I don't have any Pentaxid, or for anybody just watching or unaware of this game, the warp fuel. There's another planet over there. I don't have any ammo, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I'm going to throughout the galaxy, different factions blowing stuff up, looting their things to build bigger, badder, or more. And you can pull off of, well, let's land. Very cool. Very cool. This capital ship really does act truly as a base. It can, in the vanilla version, you can put just about everything in here except for a deconstructor and furnace, I believe. 24,320K volume, 320K volume, and this is honestly on the small size of these capital vessels. Armor locker, O2 station, medical station, regular size. This is one of the regular base constructors, and the large constructor, larger advanced constructor. So as we come into this, I just have more items that I have the ability to craft. They're all red because I don't have any resources. I just think this game is super awesome. There are some issues. It's not anything that I have the video footage on hand to show you. Some of the NPCs, in my personal opinion, look a little wonky. The pathing in this game can be a little wonky. Dealing with crafting, so the more common item is not necessarily getting shot, but getting bitten by some foreign alien, and then you have a whole slew of medicines in the game. This is the basic most basic constructor that you need to have crafted or have on your person to be able to fight those diseases or infections. This game is very good at being very easy for a long time and then being very not easy. You'll find yourself it'll sneak up on you really well. I'm not doing a whole lot of gameplay footage here, just creative mode stuff, just to kind of see some of the possibilities. I'm probably going to delete this whole playthrough. You know what I'll do? Instead of that, I'll go into God mode so I can kind of clip through this stuff. Hey, how you doing? So, this ship was crafted, and by no means is this even remotely close to the most complicated version of this. There's the warp drive. Block by block. The more blocks you put on, the heavier it is. The more sluggish it'll handle, the more thrusters you need, the more fuel you'll need, the more generators you'll need. It all plays together. It's really pretty amazing, in my opinion. Adding more guns, adding more shields, adding more thrusters requires more generators, larger fuel tanks, etc., etc., etc. The pathing, the logic for these doors have been set up through motion sensors, through the control panel for signal logic to let it know what it should do when these things occur. It's pretty amazing. Negatives, that's what I was going for. The pathing for mobs is a little wonky sometimes. That's about the best way I can put it. If you want to get rid of most of that, play Reforged Eden. Highly suggest you spend a few hours in the vanilla version before you head over there. Wi-Fi. Wow, Wi-Fi is another big thing. So I can wirelessly transfer, in this case, to the Empyrion Pioneer or the Interceptor to hold stuff. It's a fun game. I feel like a lot of people are unaware of this game, and I highly suggest you give this a shot. But yeah, just the world is your oyster. And if you're not into building or crafting, this workshop is a great place to be. You can bases. So let's take a look at some bases. Some of them are phenomenal and large and overly complicated. I shouldn't say overly complicated, but amazing. It really. You can build it in space, make it a space station using solar panels to power it. And if you are the creative type, building these things is really just takes time and practice. But you're building them one block at a time. So let's load back into the game and let's just take a quick look at it. I'm going to just to speed this portion up just so I have some background. We're going to head over here to that creative POI way over there. Maybe I should have hopped in the ship. I probably would be faster in a spaceship. That would have been the way to go. All right, so let's take a look. In this particular God mode, you can go into H for resources. So this is the beginning of every small vessel. A core and a couple of blocks. If I hit P, it tells me that, and go to device, I'm missing a generator, fuel tank, cockpit, and thruster. So again, H. So we need a fuel tank. Because I make myself look silly. Let's look at some small thrusters. Small thrusters. Filter this by small thrusters. Filter this by ship. I need a small generator. I need a small fuel tank. I do need a cockpit. So let's see here, just to see what happens. I need there's a fuel tank, nothing pretty. There's a generator. I think I'm going to have to, I don't know if it's going to let me. Oh, it will. Let's put some blocks on it. We're going super simple here, boys. Then just to make it and I hope that like Jay Randall or Span are watching, Spange is watching this and going, this guy's an idiot. I think that would be awesome. So let's get some thrusters on her. We do need a brake, so forward-facing thrusters. We do need some thrust. And we do need lateral thrusters. This will push us to the left, and this will push us to the right. We also, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, but we also need to go up. And we also need to be able to come back down. And we need to find a way to make this happen. So by the way, I want to put that cockpit down again. So you right click, and I've got a ton of options for this style. And now I believe I'm out of Wi-Fi range. Put all that fuel on the other ship. Let's you know what? Let's just use whatever. And then control panel, main, devices. Let's just group everything. And I no longer have anything here saying I'm missing something. Let's manage the fuel. Let's fill her up. Hit P for power. Y to turn it on, rather. And I can go up. I can go down. I can... Whoa. She's pretty responsive, but I guess she's pretty light. Alright, so let's... Wow. The control on this is pretty rough. Wow. That's funny. Let's take a look at that. Statistics. I've got... It's out of control. Let's see if I can bring her into land. Forgot to turn the time back off. That's that. Let's pop out of this guy. There's a ship. Throw some guns on her. You're good to go, buddy. But all of those ships, including the capital ship and the MCRN over there, they were all built like this. I think that's phenomenal. Yeah. So, man, I really highly encourage everybody to give this game a shot. I'm going to be continuing the current playlist that I'm in right now and probably starting a few more after that just because I enjoy doing it. Give me some comments. Tell me what you thought of the review. But highly... Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about. I've played a lot of games. I've played Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, EVE Online. I started way back in the day with like the original EverQuest, World of Warcraft. I played Ark. I've played Raft. I've played Subnautica. Those are all very good games. This game offers something unique. I would highly suggest everybody give this game a shot. Thanks a bunch.
I'll respond to your comments as quick as I can. See you guys in the next video. Thanks.